Good morning. Sunday, April 30th. And I think we're going to do our first day of seeding for 2023 today. Yesterday was kind of a write-off between Dad and I trying to fix that old scoop second auger, and then the mill cratering, and then getting tractor fueled up, and the last little bit of maintenance done to the drill. Get the drill to the field, get it filled with fertilizer, get the sunflower seeds in it, get it calibrated. And interestingly enough, when I was putting together the video for yesterday, when I was putting it together last night, I noticed that I calibrated the drill wrong. I actually entered one number wrong in there, and that was the sunflower number. So seeding rate would be out, and that's not the best. So first things first here, I'm going to, what am I going to do? I'm over here. I'm going to go throw my coveralls in the wash because they're filthy from fixing that hammer mill yesterday. And I don't want to climb in with all that gear oil and gearbox grease and shit on them. I don't really want to climb in the nice clean tractor cab with them on. So I'm going to head over, fire them in the wash. I'm going to go over, fire up the tractor, start the calibration process again, and then we'll seed. So could be like 40 minutes out from seeding 2023. Well, it is shaping up to be a beautiful day. Looked into the 14-day forecast, and only like one potential day of rain. So that's kind of, I mean, it's going to change. I don't put any faith into the 14-day, but at this point, it looks like could shape up to be a pretty nice seeding season. There's the old saying, if you seed in the dust, your bins will bust. And it's better to seed when it's a little drier than going around wet spots, pulling tractors out, getting openers packed with mud, getting your on-row packers full of mud, having the mud stick to your tires on your cart and your tractor. Just a nightmare. So kind of excited. Last night, I guess, I just made a couple of trips up the field and down the field. All I was doing was getting the GPS calibrated. Check the oil here. Trying to get things set back up. So there's been no seeding done yet, but there's been some practice up downs made. So as I said there, we're going to start off with calibrating this drill right. So yesterday, and I only noticed it after I was uploading the video, when I entered the numbers here, this is your seed, your fertilizer, and your fertilizer, each run. The bag itself weighed 0.9 pounds. If you don't understand what I'm saying, I'll do it again real quick when I get out there. So I got 7.7 pounds total when I weighed out my sunflowers, and that's what I typed into the screen here. What I should have typed was 6.8. I should have minused that 0.9 pounds. Might not sound like a lot, but that's 11%. So I would have actually been seeding 11% more than I wanted to. And that's really, it's not the end of the world if you have lots of seed. But I only have 4 bags of sunflower seeds because I'm only going to seed about 20 acres. So if you make a 20-acre square and then you run out of seed and you got 11% of that square left, right? It looks pretty stupid, especially right by the highway. And the whole reason we're growing sunflowers is to have something nice to look at all summer. They're really pretty to watch them grow, and I mean, they just make you happy looking at them. So we're planting them right down the range road, coming into the yard. We'll be able to watch them from the house. If Mom and Dad stay in the trailer this summer a little bit, they'll be able to watch it from the trailer, and life will be good. But I don't want to run out of seed. It's even a little bit tricky just the way that I'm going to do this, but we'll figure it out. Hopefully it works out. So real quick, you only need 2 things. You need those black bags that are hanging down, and you need yourself a scale. Calibrate these drills. I just set it into calibration mode and clicked start. I'm not going to redo the fertilizer because I know I did those ones right. And I mean, honestly, we probably don't put the recommended amount of fertilizer on anyway, so a little bit more won't hurt. What we do now then, because the seed is coming out of tank 1, shut tank 2 and 3 off, hold the calibration button, and it should start filling with sunflowers. There we go. So now we'll just hold it until we get whatever, 10, 15 pounds in there. Then we'll weigh it out. And if you can see that meter there turning on the side, the computer in the tractor is registering how many times that's turning. So that's how it knows. And once we enter the pounds, like how heavy this bag is, once we enter that into the computer, it will do its thing. And then from there, you can set it from the cab, how many pounds per acre you want to see. One is up here. Well, Buddy and I were at it. We're seeding sunflowers. And it's actually going fairly well, knock on wood. Got the cameras in the tanks. Trimble 500 GPS. I actually really like this Trimble 500. That auxiliary switch that the guy was able to reprogram. This is the monitor for the drill. And, well, this is the drill, I guess, the toolbar. And the tank. That's not right. I don't know why it says 3.7. It should be 5. And then our blockage monitors. So there's what? There's 4 screens and an auxiliary box. In the world of seeding equipment, that's actually getting fairly reasonable amount of monitors. Some tractors have like 4 or 5 remote switches, and they got screens all over. And then there's the big shift now where everything's integrated onto one screen. I'm not too sure how I feel about that, but I don't mind our setup. Works for us. It's looks daunting off the start, but not very complicated at all. So we should have at least a bag of sunflowers gone. We've seeded about 8 acres, and yeah, we'll go from there. Oh, okay, well, good afternoon, 1 o'clock. I got the sunflowers in, I guess you could say. So I'm headed over here right now. I'm gonna grab an alternator off of that John Deere tractor because I have a feeling the alternator on my air cart has failed. And I'm hoping that's what it is. I had it running, I tested it. It is only putting out 8 volts, so it definitely has failed, or something's happened there. Maybe the belt's not tight, whatever, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna get a new alternator, put it on there. But I don't understand those meters, so how they actually work, what drives what, because there's an electric motor and a hydraulic motor, and I'm not 100% sure on that. But it makes sense because as I was seeding this, I started out, I calibrated the drill, and everything was working well. I went around and I had the good fertilizer rates, good seed rates, and then it just things got worse and worse. If the seed rate started dropping off, my cameras quit working, which is another one that kind of really indicates that it was losing power. And then all sorts of alarms started flashing in and out. So fortunately, they just used a regular alternator on that. It's the same alternator that's on both those John Deere tractors. No, you can't see them, but they're over there. It's the same alternator that's on my backhoe. It's the same alternator that's on that little 430 case. I think it's the same alternator that's even on that Coxette tractor. So they're all the same. One thing about them is some alternators don't do well with continuous duty. And I think that that might be something I have to look into. But for now, I'm gonna find myself a couple of wrenches, and I'm gonna go over and start taking that apart, because I wanna be able to finish seeding out those sunflowers. There's only about 5 pounds left in the tank. And then I can switch over to my wheat and get that, get the drill calibrated, get the drill filled, and go from there. Actually, better idea yet. I think I'm gonna take this alternator off because I've already got the side shield off because I was trying to find my hydraulic leak, which there definitely is one, but I don't know where. So anyways, I never did find it. But this alternator, I believe, well, I'm gonna fire it up and make sure it works. It must work. Tractor starts every day. Boom, 14 volts. That's a good one. I'm gonna use that one. It's amazing. Let me know in the comments too how you guys experience things. On our farm, we seem to go in like stages, where one year we just, you know, for the life of us, we can't keep batteries in anything. And then the next year, hydraulic pumps. And then the next year, alternators. And then the next year, starters. Like it always seems to go in stages. And I think it's probably, is that metric? Probably more common than, happens to more people than just on our farm. So anyways, I need 2 hands for this, so let me get this off, and then yeah, then we'll, what's going on over here? Oh, Gus is off. They're gonna go work around here a little bit, and then I think we might seed wheat here. We're changing up our plans a little bit as the ground dries out. So Corey's just gonna take Gus out and go around a little bit and just check for wet spots. Everybody, I mean, we do it too. You drive by in your pickup truck in the highway and you're like, oh, that'll go. But unless you actually go out there with something, you don't encounter the wet spots and things. So it's better to take a tractor, we find. So this is gonna be a sunflower patch. I'm pretty excited about it. It's about a 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 acres. Should be about 15 acres. I think she said she bought enough to do 20 acres, 5 acres a bag. And then I just had to reseed over it. Of course, part of that reason was the drill started to act up and I wasn't getting the right seeding rate after a couple of rounds. I'm hoping it's because the battery was dying. So this little pile of sunflowers there where we were checking, a couple here. So it might not be 100% uniform and everything, but it should be, there should be a sunflower in every row. We were planning to seed them a little thicker as well because that should speed up the ripening process. Anyways, I'm not gonna, I got like ADD or something because I can't focus. Anyways, I'm here now. Let's get this alternator out of here. Well, I fished my alternator out. I'm gonna get the number off of this. Well, I'm not gonna get the number. Oh, I may as well. The number's right there. Now I have it. Ding, scanning, and gotta take it to the shop now. I gotta switch the pulley over. So the John Deere had 2 pulley thing on it. This one has a 1. Then I'll put it back on. I am gonna put this alternator on that other tractor and settle down. I'm not gonna leave it on there, but I'm gonna put it on there because then it'll keep those belts from getting all wrapped up. And that way I can at least start the tractor and drive it around if I need to. And then tomorrow, when I do a little bit of research on this, if I can find the same alternator with like a more continuous duty or something, then I'll get that and do this whole process again. But it's one of the biggest things about getting in the field earlier, especially on a farm like ours. And that's in the spring, that's in the summer for spraying season, and it's in the fall. You want to get into the field like a week early so you can get all the kinks worked out of your old shit. And because this stuff, people are like, oh, why didn't you check it? Like, this worked at the end of last season. I didn't put it away not working. It failed after 20 acres. And that's how things happen. It sits all winter, you pull it out, and it's either wrecked already or it fails shortly after being pushed into service for another season. The sun is bright. All right, so we got new old alternator assembled. I'm gonna leave the battery cover off. Obviously, got my voltmeter there, gonna run into the tractor. Got to fire it up. So the fan is driven by the hydraulics, and that's also what drives this alternator. So got to have that kicked in. And then hopefully all my lights go out. That would be a solid win, like a massive victory. The craziest part of anything is that this grate, whatever this thing is, I just found that in the shed, and it fits right on there to you know, be the initial screen for the fertilizer. And in fact, when we had our flexi coil, that's about as big as the screen that the fertilizer went through. With this drill, I like to have that smaller one, because when I wrecked those rollers last year or the year before, it was a pain because you didn't know they were wrecked right away, and then affects your seating rate a little bit, affects your walls a little bit because those are kind of expensive. And then yeah, that's that. But we are switched over to wheat now. I made first pass. This piece is 400 acres. We were originally going to put it to barley, but because it's all pretty good and dry, we'll seed it to wheat, and then out west we'll put that to barley instead, because that's a little bit wetter yet. Wow, like what a beautiful evening this has turned out to be. What is it, 7:30? Beautiful, 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 beautiful. We're seeding wheat. We got a headland done down here. Got the headlands done up there. This whole chunk is 400 acres. It was the driest that we got, actually. Even down here, this is usually all wet standing water, so it's drying out quite nice. There's really good moisture. Take away here a bit. So it's really dry on top, but right away there's moisture. Seeding the wheat, I think all these are set to 3/4 inch. That's kind of where Seedmaster recommends them to be. And I just crawled under here. I did a drill check. So I do have Agtron Legend blockage monitors. The sensors on the cart and everything work. However, when you're me, just a sec, you can't ever check too much. Like, I'm a double check kind of guy. The first year we had our flexi coil, the monitors were going off. I didn't understand them, blah, 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 blah. I seeded 70 acres and it wasn't even seeding. So ever since that day, I said, you know what? Until I'm too old to crawl under this thing, at least every 50 acres, 70 acres, even if I just need to get out and have a stretch, I'm gonna flip that. There's a switch in there that starts all the meters turning, like a preload or whatever. So I'm gonna flip that, turns all the meters, and I can crawl under there. These kind of drills are easy to crawl under because the shanks lift up out of the way, and then I'll know. So I can go back to believing the monitors are working for another 50, 60 acres. All right, well, good evening. It's about 9 o'clock. So Dad just helped me fill. I'm not gonna go tonight. I wanted to, I got what I wanted accomplished for the day. I wanted to get my sunflowers done. I wanted to get switched over to wheat. So you gotta clean them sunflowers out, switch it over to wheat, calibrate it for wheat. And then I was having some issues because that alternator was dead. So the battery was dead. Apparently this cart really is susceptible to power, so when your battery dies it doesn't work very well. So I wasn't sure what was all happening. I wanted to get that battery charged up. alternator on there that was working good, and then get out and make a few rounds. So I got about 50 acres of wheat in, so that's all right. Puts us up to about 70 acres for the year. And what would be at, I don't know what percent is that, 3-4%. So you can't knock that. I am tired though, so I'm going to take Carl down and call her a night. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all on the next one.